preparing for our #1 receivers. But I have been playing great, and so hopefully I can keep it up here tonight.
Patrick, thank you.
All right, no problem.
And the Cardinals secondary will be without safety Rashad Johnson, who leads the team in interceptions. On offense, running back Andre Ellington is out, and center Lyle Senline will play, but he won't start. A.Q. Shipley will get the start. Meanwhile, for Philadelphia, all of their inactives are healthy scratches. Al, every one of their starters is healthy and ready to go.
And Michelle, that's something you almost never see in Week 15. Division leaders now. Carolina, what a game that was at the Meadowlands today. They win 14-0. Arizona right now, the 2 seed. Green Bay beat Oakland, so they go to 10-4, lead the North. Washington, for the moment, leads the East. And, of course, Philadelphia has a chance if they even win their last 2 games, 2 division games against Washington and New York. They go to the playoffs. Meanwhile, you have Philadelphia to kick off. They won the toss and deferred, per usual, the fireworks lighting up the sky in South Philadelphia on this chilly night. Caleb Sturgis to kick off. Kerwin Williams back to receive for the Cardinals and has a chance to bring it out from about a yard into the end zone. And Williams will take the ball out to the 22-yard line. Let's take a look at the Cardinal offense.
Carson Palmer, USC.
David Johnson, Northern Iowa. Larry Fitzgerald, University of Pittsburgh.
Michael Floyd, Notre Dame.
John Brown, Pitt State.
Jermaine Gresham, Oklahoma.
Jared Valdir, Hillsdale College.
Mike Upati, Idaho.
A.Q. Shipley, Penn State.
Ted Larson, NC State.
Bobby Massey, Ole Miss.
So a look at the Eagles as they align defensively. Carson Palmer at the age of 35. He'll be 36 next week, having maybe his best season. And that's saying something since he's been in the league a long time. And he begins by going deep downfield and through the hands of John Brown. So Brown had gotten out in front. He'd blown the top off the coverage, as they like to say, but couldn't haul it in.
Wow, the dreaded quarters coverage, just really one-on-one on this post pattern here. And there's just no way to get ready for the speed of a John Brown, and goes right by the rookie Eric Rowe, and you can't throw it better than that. Fortunately for Carson Palmer, he didn't have to watch him drop it.
That's only the second drop all season for Brown, who comes into the game with 55 receptions. Now play action, look at that time, great protection, and it enables a first down to be gotten here on a pass to Michael Floyd. So Carson Palmer, Heisman Trophy winner years ago at Southern California. He is second in a lot of those categories. Of course, you've got Tom Brady, you've got Cam Newton. Until last week, you had Andy Dalton in the MVP conversation. So take your choice. Bruce Arians, Coach of the Year twice in the last 3 years, in his 3rd year as the head man of the Cardinals. From the 33, ball is handed off to David Johnson. He's the workhorse right now, picks up 6. Let's take a look at the Eagle D.
Cedric Thornton, Southern Arkansas University.
Benny Logan, Louisiana State University.
Fletcher Cox, Mississippi State.
Connor Barwin, Cincinnati.
D'Amico Ryans, Roll Tide.
Michael Kendricks, Cal.
Brandon Graham, Michigan.
Byron Maxwell, C.C. Blaney.
Walter Thurman III, Oregon.
Malcolm Jenkins, The Ohio State University.
Eric Rowe, Utah.
Rowe, a rookie. Meanwhile, Jenkins is the rock of that secondary. Had the 99-yard interception return against Tom Brady a couple of weeks ago. And this is David Johnson, who gets stacked up just short of the first down. They had Chris Johnson, who they picked up in the offseason, in training camp, in fact, and he was doing yeoman work, and then he got hurt, and he's on injured reserve, designated to return, could get back for the Super Bowl if they get there. Meanwhile, Chris, it's David Johnson who does the heavy lifting.
Yeah, I was talking to the great Tom Moore, the assistant for Arizona, and I said, who does he remind you of? His comment, Franco Harris. Coached him a long time with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, David Johnson was there. As you look at Tom Moore, their 3rd-round draft choice, played at Northern Iowa. where Kurt Warner went to school. 3 tight ends here. Palmer on a roll, looks back over the middle, and then throws up to the 36-yard line, and it's hauled in there by Jerron Brown. So you've got John Brown, you've got Jerron Brown, and that's a first down.
Just some of the play calling of Bruce Arians, 3rd and 1, and what do? Of course you're going to throw the ball. Coming across the field, Jerron Brown, not the speedster, a little bit more of the guy that can get that done, but Carson Palmer just playing so confidently. You talk to some of these Eagles defenders, and Billy Davis, their defensive coordinator, says he doesn't favor anybody. He just favors whatever the best matchup is. He thinks all his guys get open.
That's Fitzgerald in the slot. And Palmer fires over the middle, and that is caught. He goes to the tight end, and that's Darren Fells riding the Eagles all the way to the 7-yard line, setting up a first down and goal. Darren Fells with the reception. And that's a gain of 36.
Well, you're going to get the 3 wide receiver set the other way, and so Darren Fells, the middle linebacker, just worked that way. Carson Palmer saw it. And it looked like it's a rodeo. He's just going to carry him all the way down. Carson Palmer already has taken some big hits here. Brandon Graham unblocked, got him that time. Boy, what a play by Fells, huh?
Maxwell finally able to get him down. It's 1st and goal on the game's opening drive at the 7-yard line. To the right side, and then cutting it back and taking it to the 2-yard line goes David Johnson. It'll be 2nd down and goal. Philadelphia has the worst red zone defense in the NFL, meaning they give up touchdowns a higher percentage of the time when the opposition is inside the 20-yard line. 2 out of every 3 forays into the red zone. Chip Kelly in his 3rd year as the head coach got him to the playoffs 2 years ago with 10 wins. Last year they won 10, but didn't make the playoffs. This year they could make it with 7 or 8. 2nd and goal from the 2. And this is Jackson going into the end zone. And how easy did the Arizona Cardinals make that look? So Philly deferred, gave the ball to the Cardinals. 4 first downs on the way into the end zone. 8 plays, 4 runs, and 4 passes. And in front go the Cards.
Well, you're going to get, this is just going to look too easy. Wide receiver, Jerron Brown comes there. Darren Fells there, just one-on-one, and not even a real good fist fight. That was just kind of, okay. Got Walter Thurman up there as safety, and that could not have been any easier. That's a little embarrassing for the Eagles defensively.
Start out like that at home. A little less than 4.5 minutes. Chandler Catanzaro for the extra point. One of the big plays on the drive was the pass over the middle to Darren Fells, the tight end, to set it up for the touchdown. 7-0 early. Sunday Night Football being brought to you by Microsoft Surface, the official tablet of the NFL. By GE, the digital company that's also an industrial company. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. And by the newly redesigned Volkswagen Passat. Now, that took place Monday night in the Valley of the Sun. Calais Campbell and Carson Palmer, Frosty Rucker, Larry Fitzgerald taking 60 kids shopping, part of Christmas with Calais. Michael Bidwell has done a really tremendous job taking over from his dad, Bill Bidwell, running this Arizona Cardinal franchise. And right now they are on a total roll as it's run back to the 26-yard line by Josh Huff. So the Eagles take over down 7-zip. Catch every moment of Sunday Night Football with NBC Sports Live Extra. Take the game with you anywhere. Watch live on your laptop, tablet, and connected TVs. Cruising down the river here. We got the Schuylkill and the Delaware both flanking Central Philadelphia. As from the 24-yard line, Ryan Matthews takes the ball up to the 30-yard line. The Eagles go very fast-paced. In fact, the fastest in the league, and that's why they are last in the league in time of possession. Meanwhile, Arizona is first. 2nd and 6. Ball handed off again to the former San Diego Charger in his first year as an Eagle, up to the 32, 3rd and short.
Yeah, and you recognize the running back controversy, if you will, or at least rotation. Ryan Matthews now sort of becoming the lead. DeMarco Murray came over as the a high-priced player from the Dallas Cowboys, leading rusher in the league last year, no longer starting, and now Darren Sproles checks in on third down, who's been arguably the best player on this team.
And he flanks Bradford on third down and 4. And we're going to get a false start against the Eagles. Tony Correnti.
False start, offense number 17. 5-yard penalty, remains third down.
It's Nelson Aguilar, the #1 draft choice rookie out of USC. Meanwhile, Bradford, the last 4 games he's played, he's been pretty good. He had a struggle through the first 7. He missed 2 games after a concussion and a shoulder issue, and Mark Sanchez came in, but turning it up over the last month. Third down and 9 now. Just a 3-man rush, and Bradford able to thread it through the middle to Jordan Matthews, and into Cardinal territory he goes to the 43-yard line. Kevin Minter running him down into 30.
So many times when you get this crossing action going, the linebackers will react to the first thing they see underneath them. That time Marcus Golden, number 44, jumped up underneath here, and here's a matchup you're going to enjoy watching. Jason Peters working against Dwight Freeney on the outside. Freeney, in just 8 games already, their leading sacker.
He still has it after all those years at Indianapolis, and that catch, a juggling grab made by Jordan Matthews. So back to the second-year guy from Vanderbilt, gain of 9. Kelly calls in the plays at 2nd and 1.
Jordan Matthews, not your typical slot receiver, a bigger, thicker, more physical guy than we're used to seeing in there.
No huddle. There's the time to the next play. 17 and a half here to the outside. That's caught by Sproles, and he cannot spin away. He picks up the first down. Neion Buchanan takes him down at the sideline.
One of the advantages that the Arizona Cardinals have is that their inside linebacker is a former safety, Neion Buchanan, and that is the matchup they want. They do not want to allow Darren Sproles to get on any of their other linebackers, Kevin Minter being one.
Buchanan playing that linebacker role, weighing in at about 210. Play action, pass caught. That's a gain of about 7. Josh Huff making the catch there, 2nd down.
Yeah, one of the things that you worry about defensively are those first 15 plays. If this team gets on a roll, your defense starts to get exhausted, and that's exactly what happens the longer this goes here.
2nd down and 3, blitz coming, and Bradford fires over the middle, and that's dropped at the 2-yard line, flag down. Zach Ertz, the tight end, couldn't hold on. Time Matthew covering on the play, and Tony Correnti will tell us about it.
Holding, offense number 24. 10-yard penalty, repeat, 2nd down.
And that's the running back Matthews.
Interesting. It looked like a good blitz pickup. Here Buchanan's going to come shooting through there, and Matthews is going to kind of take him down. Maybe he figured it was just the tackle. You can see that right arm wrapped around like a wrestling move or something.
That's holding. It'll be 2nd down and 13. Eagles send in some new personnel, which allows the Cardinals to counter. Just about the halfway mark of the opening quarter. 2nd and 13 after the penalty. Good clean pocket, and then that pass is incomplete, intended for Darren Sproles, making it 3rd down and 13 for Philadelphia.
Yeah, Darren Sproles has made so many big plays for this Philadelphia Eagles team, but Sam Bradford admitted there are times that I have a hard time reading his body language when he's running routes. That time Sproles stopped. Bradford thought he was going to keep going.
Blitz coming again, and Bradford gets hit as he throws, and the pass is caught. Going to the ground is Jordan Matthews. Terrific drive for him. Went to the ground, and meanwhile you've got Bradford down. So Sam Bradford really took a shot and is writhing in pain. Injury timeout. Well, Sam Bradford went to the bench, sat down, they checked him out. Now he starts to throw again. It has to, of course, come out for at least one play. And here's what happens. You got Witherspoon and Campbell with a kill shot at the end here.
Well, basically, it was just a great defensive scheme that time by James Betcher, their defensive coordinator, got him unblocked.
So now you got Mark Sanchez handing the ball off to Sproles. He can go nowhere. Sanchez with a ton of experience with the Jets, and then last year played about half the year, and Bradford's going to come back in after one play.
Well, and maybe the most interesting part of this is Sam Bradford. They were sort of undecided in Philadelphia about him, right? All of a sudden he comes back in the game and the crowd goes crazy. That's probably the warmest thing that's happened to him so far in Philadelphia.
Well, he's been injury prone. His career in St. Louis marred by a couple of ACL tears. Comes here, missed 2 games this year, but back after one play, and he slings it to the right side. Ryan Matthews takes the ball to the 19-yard line, gain of 2. It'll be 3rd and 11. Buchanan made the stop.
And Bradford's wearing extra padding on that left shoulder, but you know it's a problem. He's been taking a lot of hits. As you said, he has been injury prone, but you know every single shot that he's going to take in this game is going to make him wince, which is going to make Arizona want to blitz him more.
And Arizona blitzes more than any team in the league, but not here. They send 4, and over the middle it's incomplete. Surrounded by a passel of Cardinals is Ertz, and that's DJ Swearinger, hard-hitting safety, taking the spot normally occupied by Rashad Johnson, who makes the hit.
Here comes one of the best pass rushers right on the outside, Dwight Freeney, with a little stunt with Calais Campbell. But this DJ Swearinger on the back end, who did deliver that big hit, they say he brings an entirely different attitude to their secondary. They're missing their leader, Rashad Johnson, at safety back there, but Swearinger is one of those big hitters.
Caleb Sturgis took over when Cody Parkey got hurt early in the season. 36-yard attempt by the former Miami Dolphin is good. And so 9 minutes into the game, it is Arizona 7 and Philadelphia 3 on Sunday Night Football. Next month in January, all 3 Chicago teams, fire, police, and medical, unite in a crossover event. 3 shows, 2 nights, 1 Chicago. Home of the Dick Wolf trilogy. He produces them all. Starting January the 5th right here on NBC. Down into stadium that opened in 2003, replacing Veteran Stadium, which was across the parking lot that many years ago. To the end zone, Kerwin Williams from 3 yards in gets back to the 17-yard line.
Well, Carson Palmer is certainly one of the more fun quarterbacks to watch. He is a guy that does have a quick release, 8th best in the league, according to Pro Football Focus. And as a result, what do? You try and get pressure on the guy, so you're going to have to blitz. So he sees a lot of blitzes, second most in football, but that creates opportunities down the field for deep throws and deep opportunities. And look at those numbers, 11.3 yards, highest in the NFL. This is a big play offense. Bruce Arians, Carson Palmer, that is what they represent.
Great receivers, and the running back David Johnson also catches a lot of balls. Fitzgerald will go to the Hall of Fame someday. Sliding to the right. Carson slides away from what would have been a sack, and there is Fitzgerald having a fabulous season, taking it to the 35-yard line. Somehow, someway, Palmer able to escape the grasp of Fletcher Cox.
Well, Jared Valdir is the best of their pass blockers, but Fletcher Cox is one of the best pass rushers. And you can see what Valdir did. He tried to jump on him early, not let Fletcher Cox get out of the stance, but held on just long enough. Cox misses, and somehow Carson Palmer escaped to make that big play.
Gain of 18. And Johnson looking for room. There is none, and that is Fletcher Cox, who will probably wind up in Honolulu for the Pro Bowl, having a terrific season. They play at 3-4. He was their #1 draft choice. Played at Mississippi State from Yazoo City, Mississippi. Fletcher Cox.
He's a stud. You know, and 34 defensive ends never get the attention of their 4-3 counterparts because they have to play the run, they have to 2-gap, take on double teams. All they got a split lip too. But here is a guy that plays the complete game, and you got a chance to see both in those last 2 plays.
And then the great defensive back, Willie Brown, who grew up in Yazoo City. Meanwhile, Johnson finds a hole, gets it out to the 43-yard line. Andre Ellington, one of their other running backs, still nursing a toe injury, so he's out. We talked about Chris Johnson before, who can't come back until the Super Bowl if they get that far.
You know who's playing pretty well here so far is A.Q. Shipley. On that play, here's a guy that's a backup coming in, playing for Lyle Sinline, who's banged up. Shipley is managing to get some people on the ground. His run blocking, his double team early in this game has been pretty effective for running the football.
3rd and 2 up at the 43-yard line. And swinging to the outside. That's Johnson. He slips a tackle, and that enables him to pick up a first down with plenty to spare. Broke away from Michael Kendricks. 1st and 10.
Well, Tom Moore compared him to Franco Harris. Franco Harris caught at least one ball that was pretty tough to catch that I can think of.
Don't tell Coach Madden.
Yeah, this guy has just an exciting element to him, doesn't he? This David Johnson, he's come in. And Bruce Arians really doesn't believe in playing rookies a whole lot, but after Thanksgiving, he says, all right, that's it. He's ready to go, and perfect timing. That's about when Chris Johnson got hurt.
He's a triplet. He has 2 sisters. And this is Johnson again to the 38-yard line. They had high hopes for this guy, but they wanted to work him in relatively slowly. They had Ellington as maybe their #1 back. They drafted him. Then they picked up Chris Johnson. And, of course, he has to carry the load right now. 10 TDs. He's picked up 1 as a return man. They took that role away from him on kickoff returns when he became the #1 back. 4 out of the backfield and 5 receiving.
He's a big guy. He's quick. He's fast. He has good hands. And according to Carson Palmer, he finally knows how to block in the backfield. Who the blitzers are, that's what he cared about most.
Tight formation on 2nd and 2. Give it to him again. And he will get stacked up at just about the first down line. It's going to set up, in all likelihood, a 3rd down, and will 3rd and inches.
Well, no question that one of the better players on this Philadelphia Eagles defense has been Malcolm Jenkins. He is a guy that they tried to move back to the middle of the field and let him play free safety for an extended period of time, and it just didn't work out. It wasn't good for the team.
Go with 3 tight ends here on 3rd and inches, and that provides leverage for Johnson, who gets to the 33, and he moves the chains.
Anytime you get in that sort of a front, you just know it's straight power football. And Ted Larson, who now is playing right guard for the Arizona Cardinals, has also been a good addition up there. Jonathan Cooper was like the 7th overall pick in the draft, and they kept trying to play him and kept trying to play him, and they just felt like that number 62 there, Ted Larson, understood it. And Carson Palmer talked about how a guy that is that smart up there, just don't make mistakes sometimes, be a good run blocker, he's really produced for him.
And they go empty on 1st down, and the pass caught. And this is Kerwin Williams, who just came into the game to give David Johnson a breather. And Williams, who would be along with Stephon Taylor, the backup backs to David Johnson, with Byron Maxwell now shaken up for Philadelphia. So Corrente signals that Maxwell will need some time to get off the field.
I don't think it matters where anybody lines up for the Arizona Cardinals. They've got running backs that play receiver. They've got receivers that block like fullbacks. The versatility of this offense is what has always been so impressive to me.
Well, you saw Maxwell come off the field. E.J. Biggers comes in the secondary. Palmer has begun the game 7 of his first 8 for 112. And a quick toss to Michael Floyd on the outside. And the big receiver makes his first catch, covered there by the rookie Eric Rowe.
Yeah, Eric Rowe probably weighs about 200 pounds, and Michael Floyd about 225 pounds. And whenever you play against Michael Floyd, you're going to get one of these. I mean, that's just nasty. Long arms, strong. Of course, we'll all remember a little bit of Eric Rowe on Thanksgiving Day. Tough day against Calvin Johnson, but since then he's played really well.
Yeah, it's quite the baptism by fire.
Yeah.
Rookie comes in. Big television audience Thanksgiving. All they have to do is face Calvin Johnson. Meanwhile, here's Fitzgerald. And Larry gets to the 6-yard line. And that will be the end of the quarter when they wind the clock here, with the Cardinals knocking on the goal line door with 2nd down and goal coming up when play resumes. End of the quarter, 7-3 Arizona. And Sunday night football resumes from Philadelphia after these messages.
Waiting all day for Sunday night.
Back in Philly, second quarter, Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya. 155 total yards in the quarter for Arizona, so that's a 620-yard pace. Talked about Arizona leading the league in time of possession. That's reflected in the first quarter there. Philadelphia last in the league in time of possession. It's 2nd down and 5. They actually can get a first down without a touchdown. Markers at about the half-yard line. The running back is Johnson. Maxwell is back in. He was shaken up. Darren Fells now sets up in the backfield with Palmer. And Carson throwing one, and it's juggled and incomplete. It's John Brown who can't haul it in. Eric Rowe covering on the play. It'll be 3rd and 5.
I always think this is the most difficult of these fade routes to try and play. When the inside receiver, look at all the room he has to work with out there. Rowe gets his head around, but geez, John Brown so far missed a couple. I couldn't tell if Rowe got his hand on that one or not.
And they spread it out on 3rd and 5. Going 5 wide. 3-man rush. And they're going to get Palmer, sack him at the 10. So 3 come in, 8 covering the 5 receivers. Fletcher Cox will get the sack, and Arizona will have to settle for a field goal attempt.
Anytime you're facing these kinds of receivers, you just rush 3, but here comes Fitzgerald right in the middle of the field. They double him, and when Carson could not find him, nice job by Connor Barwin in there. He just sort of succumbed to the pressure right up the gut, and that was Fletcher Cox working on A.Q. Shipley.
28-yard attempt coming for Chandler Catanzaro. Only missed 2 of 27 this season, and bangs that one through. So the drive stalls. They get 3 and lead by 7 on Sunday Night Football. Aerial coverage being brought to you tonight by Geico and Franklin Bridge, crossing over the Delaware into Philadelphia. Jeffrey and Tina Lurie. Jeffrey has owned this team since 1994. 22nd season. He's watched his team go to the playoffs 12 times in that span. Josh Huff running back the kick and takes it out to the 25-yard line. That's where Bradford and company will go to work. 10-3 Arizona. Well, at Oregon, Chip Kelly did the same thing. Ran that fast break offense. He's done the same thing here in the NFL. 24 seconds per play. In his rookie year, 22-7 last year. This year, 22-8. So they go fast. The time of possession is down. The production's been so-so. I mean, they're 14th in points. They're 16th in yards. They're 13th rushing, 21st passing. So nothing really to write home about this season. Ryan Matthews is the back. He takes an inside handoff and gets to the 27, tackled by Morrow.
Yeah, and I think you have to consider Sam Bradford's situation. Here he comes into this new high, fast-paced offense that they're trying to all figure out. He said when I was with the Rams, they call it into the headset, you call it in the huddle, you walk to line of scrimmage, you have 20 seconds to sort of picture the play in your mind. Here, you kind of call it and you snap it, and if you don't know it and on a first-hand kind of basis, it can be pretty tough.
Sea change for him in a lot of ways. A little toss here to Matthews. We haven't seen DeMarco Murray yet. One of the 3 backs. Sam told us earlier this year, we mentioned it during a game, there is Murray, the former Cowboy, that we asked him about Philadelphia, St. Louis. He says it's a 180. So we asked him the other day if it's still 180, and he said, yeah, it's still 180.
Yeah, and he's still in the translation phase, you know, where they call a play and he's still sort of equating that to something he did with the Rams or Oklahoma or whatever. I think finally now he's getting to the point where he's speaking Eaglese now.
Like the language. 3rd and 6. That's a pass over the middle, but they're going to be short of the first down. Jordan Matthews is able to make the catch, and that's Swearingen stopping him, and in comes the punting group.
You know, it's interesting, some of the guys that have been available off the streets. DJ Swearinger is a guy. Red Bryant used to play with Seattle for a long time, and Shoot, even Dwight Freeney, who leads them in sacks, they didn't get him until a few games in.
Connie Jones to punt, first punt of the game. Fair catch called for by Patrick Peterson at the 18-yard line, and back to come the Cardinal offense. 10-3 Arizona. Sunday Night Football being brought to you by Subway. Make your Sub Deluxe with 50% more meat. By Toyota. Let's go places. By Exxon Mobil. Energy lives here. And by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. So you go up Broad Street. Temple University is there. And Bruce Arians was the head coach at Temple between 1983 and 1988, 6 years, did extremely well, but it's the last time he was a head coach prior to becoming the head coach of the Cardinals 3 years ago.
It's hard to believe, really, isn't it, with all the success he had?
Kerwin Williams is the back. And a gain of about 3 yards. I mean, he was a head coach in college, did well, went to the NFL, bounced around a lot of years. Then he was going to retire, in effect, when Pittsburgh didn't renew his contract. Goes to Indianapolis. Chuck Pagano gets sick. He takes over, wins Coach of the Year, on to Arizona. What a story.
Yeah, didn't you love hearing him talk about Temple when it was back in the day? He said he came here and he never really had all the stuff they had here. You know, they had those great pretzels, so he'd stop and get 6 of them on the way home, stop at another place, get a 6-pack of beer, get home, and eat the whole thing. Said he put on 25 pounds in like 3 weeks.
It's the best-smelling campus ever with all those food trucks. Palmer is going to take off and slide to a stop at the 30-yard line, first down, and a flag is down back at the 19. Got a hold coming up. Which way?
Holding, offense, number 76. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
Left guard Mike Iupati.
You just see this happen so many times when a quarterback scrambles. Right here's Mike Iupati, and he really blocks pretty well here against Fletcher Cox. Holds his own, but then when Carson Palmer scrambles out, those linemen just tend to grab that outside shoulder pad, and it's just too easy for the officials to see.
Iupati, no stranger to the Pro Bowl, played with the San Francisco 49ers, suffered that scary injury in a Sunday night game in Seattle in mid-November, but was back the next week. Second down and 16. And cutting back through the middle up to the 18 goes Kerwin Williams. So Arians in those 6 years up the street. There he was. And the Temple Owls will be playing in a bowl game this week against Toledo.
I said they used to have about 10,000 people come to the game, except one time they beat Pitt. And at halftime, they had 10,000 people, but at the end of the game, they had 50,000 people because they had a Beach Boys concert afterwards.
Well, yeah.
It's a perfect timing. It was great.
You saw being carried off the field with a lot of the empty upper deck of the old vets. Stephon Taylor is now in the game, flanking Palmer. He stays in the block, and Palmer slings one incomplete. Coverage was good. John Brown was the intended receiver, and the Cardinals will punt. He wants a penalty, obviously.
They're going to try and work on E.J. Biggers here on the outside, but Biggers really played that one just right.
Drew Butler, his first punt of the night. Fair catch is called for, and then it bounces, takes an eagle hop, and is down at the 47-yard line. 10:21 to the half after a 35-yard punt. 10-3 Cards.
There's Dayon Buchanan, a former safety who Bruce Arians talked into playing middle linebacker, and there he is, lined up at 212 pounds, taking on Lane Johnson. He is the leading tackler on this Arizona Cardinals team, lined up on the outside, one-on-one with Darren Sproles. So obviously a safety is going to help you some in coverage, and his speed is really a factor. We're talking to the Eagles, and they were saying kind of reminds them of Sean Lee a little bit, the Dallas Cowboys inside linebacker. But boy, that grand experiment has paid off big.
Now this drive begins with a Matthews run, and Matthews to the 34-yard line, where Powers is able to make the tackle, but not until he picks up 19 yards to the 34.
Well, here's the problem, though. Whenever you get a 300-pound lineman on a 212-pound inside linebacker, you get a little flip-flop. There you go. But, you know, you trade off a little speed. He's going to make some plays, and if the Eagles can get their big lineman on him, they're going to win.
Taking a little extra time here after that big gain. 33 seconds after the last play. Rolling out. Bradford saw nothing across the field. Has a little bit of room and takes the ball to the 28-yard line for a gain of 5. It'll be 2nd and 5.
I think they were going to try and hit that wheel route up the backside of this. You saw Bradford stop on the bootleg action. He wanted to try and throw it down the other boundary, but the Cardinals did a pretty nice job of staying with that.
DeMarco Murray now comes into the game for the first time. So 20 minutes into the game, they fake it to him, and then the pass is caught, and that is Jordan Matthews, and he will have a first down. So Murray led the league in rushing last year. Dallas wanted to keep him, but Philadelphia paid him a king's ransom. Of course, they got rid of LaShawn McCoy, brought him in, brought Matthews in. Sproles was here. Chip Kelly got control of all the personnel in the offseason, so he made all of these moves. But for Murray, it's been a frustrating season.
Oh, that Sam Bradford didn't see him hustling one of their guys off late. He could have snapped and got a free play.
The play fake finds the open man, Zach Ertz, touchdown. "22 yards after they started this drive at their own 47-yard line, and just like that, an extra point away from a tie game."
Complete confusion on the back end. Here's Tony Jefferson, who is filling in for Rashad Johnson, who's really the play caller on that defensive secondary. Now, Tony Jefferson may be a little bit better athlete, but you're talking about the guy that is supposed to be calling the signals, and they only had 10 guys lined up on the play. And the guy that ran off late probably should not have.
And that was Rodney Gunter who ran off. He was the 11th guy. So Ertz, their second leading receiver, that's his second touchdown catch of the year. Sturgis for the point after. And with 8:26 to go in the opening half, 10-10 at the link. Title race heating up in the Barclays Premier League. Arsenal hosting Manchester City. That's tomorrow, NBCSN. Saturday is Boxing Day, so a full day of matches. Coverage beginning at 7 Eastern Saturday on NBCSN. 10-10 is the score. And 7 yards deep, taking a knee back there, is Kerwin Williams. And back we go to Ertz over the middle for 6 points.
Yeah, and it's hard to believe that they don't see Calais Campbell, all 6'7" of them, trying to call this timeout. That's well before the snap. And Bruce Arians is going crazy on Tony Correnti and on the sideline, and he's right. Because if you're looking at the quarterback, which apparently everybody is in that situation, it'd be hard to miss a 6'7" guy calling timeout.
You would think.
You would think.
Yeah.
But you never know these days.
No, these days you certainly don't. Strong side right, extra lineman in there. This is David Johnson. And he will chug his way. Speaking of Johnson, the other Johnson, there is Rashad Johnson, who's really the glue of a secondary that has guys like Peterson and Matthew and a lot of good players, but he's kind of the quarterback of the secondary.
Yeah, not to mention 5 interceptions so far on the year, but he's the guy that recognizes the formations, that makes the quick adjustments. And in a game like this against a team with this kind of tempo in the Philadelphia Eagles, he is sorely missed.
2nd down and 6. Johnson threads his way for a couple. We go to Michelle.
Well, Eagles cornerback Eric Rowe went back to the locker room to be evaluated for a head injury. Has not yet come back out, guys. Right now, E.J. Biggers in for him. We'll keep an eye on it.
All right, thank you, Michelle. So, as I mentioned before the game, the Eagles very healthy. Almost nobody on the injury report. And that's something that you almost never see the third week of December. 3rd down and 3.
But they are very thin now at the cornerback position.
And the blitz is coming. They pick it up, and Palmer fires to Fitzgerald. And Larry Fitzgerald has the first down as Malcolm Jenkins covered on the play, trailed them all the way. That's a gain of 19 yards.
And here's a matchup of two guys who are going to make the Pro Bowl this year, and it's pretty incredible. Malcolm Jenkins has basically transformed himself from a safety into a slot corner, desperately needed when they moved him back to free safety and out of that cornerback position. This defense basically fell apart, gave up 50 points or so in back-to-back weeks, moved him back, and things settled for them.
Yeah, he enjoys it there playing the slot corner. Came over after several fine seasons with the Saints, and Palmer's going to air it out. Deep shot into double coverage, and they knock it away. So J.J. Nelson, who's their number 5 receiver, he's as fast as anybody in the league. Spectacular at the combine. You had Thurman and Biggers covering on the play.
Here's a guy that ran 4.28. I'm not sure you could drive a car that fast. 4.28. And the one guy that Carson Palmer did feel like they could go after in the dime or the nickel situation was E.J. Biggers, but there he was, stride for stride. Nice job by Biggers.
Excess of riches when it comes to wide receivers. When a guy like J.J. Nelson can be number 5. Palmer throws, and that is dropped at the 35-yard line. Michael Floyd could not hang on. Ryans covering on the play, and Byron Maxwell, who was injured before, came out for a couple of plays, slow and getting up again. Injury timeout. 12th year in the league for Larry Fitzgerald. The next catch he makes this season will be his 100th. He's dropped only 2 that have been on target, and that is really nothing new. You go back to his career coming out of the University of Pittsburgh since 04, 29 catches per on-target drop, and that's the best grade among all the wide receivers and tight ends, and pretty much the embodiment of this Cardinal franchise. That postseason he had in 08 was over the moon, including 3 touchdown catches against Philadelphia in the championship game that led to the Super Bowl where they lost to Pittsburgh.
Not a bad Super Bowl either.
Oh boy.
That was one of the great performances we've ever seen.
It's 3rd down and 10. Jalen Watkins comes in. Maxwell was able to leave right after we went to the break. Palmer steps up. Palmer goes deep, and it is dropped. Wow. It's John Brown. And the Eagles trying to come up with the ball, figuring it was alive, but it wasn't. And so it's another drop there for Brown.
What an incredible throw here on the part of Carson Palmer. This is completely, beautifully covered by Biggers. He drops it in right over the top, and that is for John Brown, his 3rd drop of the game. He didn't drop any hardly coming in here.
Butler's kick. Fair caught at the 15-yard line by Darren Sproles. With 6:16 to go in the half.
One more time. Unobstructed. He's got it in his hands, and just going to the ground lets it get away. You know, John Brown had that issue with his hamstring and really wasn't himself for about 3 games or so, but here recently he has just been red hot. A guy had an incredible start to his career, 4 game-winning touchdown passes as a rookie. I've never seen him do anything close to what we're seeing him do out here tonight.
Including one in the final 2 minutes of the game last year, a 75-yard reception to knock off the Eagles in Arizona. From the 15, Ryan Matthews is the back. Had a time caught by Bradford, but the pass is incomplete, intended for Ertz, who looks for a flag and sees none. 2nd down.
Here's a pattern the Eagles love, this little peel back. It looks like it's going to be one of those crossing routes, and then they come back across the face of Tony Jefferson. I think Tony Jefferson did a little film study. He was ready for that one. But boy, that Zach Ertz has really had a nice year, not only catching the football, but blocking as well.
A lot of big plays, big catch toward the end of the game last week to cement the win against Buffalo. And taking the ball in at the 19-yard line is Jordan Matthews, who's had a big half. Hit there by Tyrone Matthew. So that's 6 catches now for Jordan Matthews for 70 yards.
Yeah, he's a guy that had a few problems with drops early in the season, but he really has picked up the pace here lately and playing very, very well.
Betcher, the defensive coordinator, took over for Todd Bowles, who got the head job with the New York Jets and is right on the doorstep to the playoffs as Todd. 3rd and 5, and that pass is low and incomplete, intended there for Jordan Matthews, and it will be 4th down for Philadelphia.
Going to try and sneak it in there to him, but watch Tyrann Mathieu. He's going to fall back underneath this thing. These guys are just so quick. There are 2 great players on this defense. Patrick Peterson has played as well this year as anybody, and Tyrann Mathieu, that combination, as good as there is in football.
The left-footed Jones. This is Peterson from the 27. Oh, runs into his own man and loses the ball. And a big scramble, and Arizona has apparently recovered because Troy Nicholas created it, and one of those 2 guys probably wound up with it at the bottom of the pile. Nicholas is 87, and the ball is underneath him.
Well, I think Nicholas saved his own skin. At least he recovered the fumble. Peterson swinging it wide, but Troy Nicholas was coming down and just couldn't quite keep up with Najee Good. Boy, they are lucky to catch a break there.
Oh yeah.
You know, you're relaxed when you see your color guy out there, right? When you see somebody in red and white and you go, okay, I can settle in, and all of a sudden you take a shot from him, cause the fumble.
It's a different sort of forced fumble and fumble recovery.
Yeah. You know, some good stats are good stats. Who cares?
Right.
Nobody asked how.
The lower 5 to go in the half. 1st down from the 33. They begin this drive with play action. And Palmer to the outside, and that will be hauled in by Michael Floyd, who makes the catch before he steps out of bounds, covered by Maxwell.
Well, here's exactly what Carson Palmer loves about David Johnson now. Malcolm Jenkins going to come on the blitz, and right there's David Johnson. He's a big guy, picked it up. That's on his backside. Carson Palmer has to have complete trust in the rookie to be able to handle that, and he did it just right. Said in training camp and OTAs, he said, I wasn't sure that David Johnson was ever going to get it. Coming out of Northern Iowa, he had 40 different protections. I think he only knew a handful of them.
1st down from the 48. Gain of 5 here for Johnson. I'll tell you how astute the Philadelphia fan is. So Maxwell gets a big contract, came over from Seattle. He's not having a really great year, let's put it that way, kind of mediocre. Too much space did he give Floyd on that play, so naturally they boo him. I mean, there aren't that many fan bases that would understand that subtlety.
Well, it is Christmas.
That's right. Yeah, everybody gets booed.
Even old Santa.
Yeah. 2nd down and 5 at the 47-yard line. David Johnson cuts it back and is able to slip away from everybody, and look at this run. David Johnson ran through the entire Eagle defense all the way
touchdown
to the end zone. Yeah, the officials confer. He gets across the goal line. Wow. Everybody had a shot to get him.
That may be one of the best runs we have seen all year. Larry Fitzgerald out there on the point, Darren Fells, but it looks like he's down. Everybody sort of stops on the play right there, and then he just runs through everybody else. Ed Reynolds the last, and Biggers keeps his balance. You know, that's worthy of beast mode there. Only guy we've seen do that is Marshawn Lynch.
Runs through the defense. They're just checking to see that he got into the end zone. All scoring plays reviewed. What a run. The rookie out of Northern Iowa, David Johnson. Confirmed. Now an extra point by Catanzaro.
Harris would be proud.
Yeah. So he's carried the ball now 12 times for 87 yards. Spectacular touchdown. 17-10 Cardinals. Need a last-minute holiday gift? Well, NFLshop.com is the place to check in. Official store of the NFL. City of brotherly love on this Sunday night. It's the night before winter. I think winter comes along very late Eastern time, just before midnight tomorrow. It's supposed to be 70 degrees here on Christmas Eve. .37 at game time tonight. Clear skies, no threat of rain. 17-10 Arizona. The kickoff here by Catanzaro. Run back from the 6-yard line by Josh Huff. And it's a good run back all the way out to the 44-yard line to set up Bradford with a short field. Back to the touchdown we go.
Give you a little example right there's Malcolm Jenkins. We've already talked about what a great player he is. Darren Fells gets him blocked, and then Malcolm Jenkins thinks, okay, he's on the ground, and then has to hustle back to try to get up there and make the play. And David Johnson is just a horse at 224 pounds. Once he got into the secondary, nobody could handle him.
39-yard run back by Huff. Tried to get the crowd stirred up as well from the 44. Bradford with 5 protection, tipped and incomplete. Jordan Matthews could not hold on. 2nd down and 10.
Well, I think I put the jinx on him. I just told you that he had some struggles early on catching the football and been catching everything today, and that one went right between his hands. But that's an exciting young man right there. And boy, if the Eagles can't stop Arizona from running the football, they have almost no chance with the speed they have at receiver. You have to be able to stop one or the other.
Bradford and line doing a nice job, and it's caught at the 50-yard line. Josh Huff takes the ball to the 48. It'll be 3rd down and 2. Clock ticking down to 3.5 to go in the half.
We see a little more straight drop back, don't we, out of Sam Bradford than we did early in the season, and I think he likes it. Patrick Peterson was saying the same thing. You could tell that he just likes that a little better.
3rd and 3, and that will be taken in for a 1st down by Brent Selleck. Selleck and Ertz, the 2 tight ends, and Selleck makes his first catch of the night.
What a throw this was. Completely covered going down the field, so he takes a shot at the back shoulder, and Selleck just one-hands that thing. Deion Buchanan in perfect position, and Sam Bradford read it just right.
He's turning around a little bit too late, and it's a gain of a couple here for Darren Sproles to the 25. It'll be 2nd and 7.
It's like one of those pit crew clocks now. Eagles time to next play, and there's Chip Kelly, and he's going to signal it in. Then all his assistants will signal into their individual player groups, and they got signals going on all over the place. And Sam Bradford's brain is racing, trying to translate it to some language he knows, and here we go.
2nd and 7 from the 25. And it's caught on the outside and close to a 1st down. Zach Ertz. And it'll be 3rd down.
Talked about how they call the play. Well, there's Chip Kelly. He's got the headset on. Everybody else has the headset on, so he calls it in to Sam Bradford, and now everybody else starts doing things there, and their red sweatbands on, so you can find them a little easier, but that's how fast it works.
Bradford did a little shot there from Josh Morrow at the end, and this will be a 1st down on a little flip over to Darren Sproles. It's going to take us, should anyway, to the 2-minute warning. And there it is. Yep. Promised you. Wouldn't lie to you. 2-minute warning. 17-10 Arizona. Toyota halftime coming up. The boys certainly to weigh in on Odell Beckham Jr.'s day in the Meadowlands. AFC race in the West heating up. Bob will have his take on the Panthers' pursuit of perfection. They're now 14-0. 1st down. This is Bradford throwing to the 12-yard line. Sproles is there to make the catch. And it'll be 2nd down. Calais Campbell put the heat on Bradford that time. And a 2nd and 5.
Quite a bit of zone defense out of Arizona tonight. Something a little different. You wonder if Rashad Johnson, the quarterback not being in there, may have Wayne wanted to simplify a bit.
Sproles takes it to the 10. And it sets up a 3rd down and 3. I know they love to go fast, but you wonder if you don't take some time off the clock. If you score a touchdown, great. If you get a field goal, you don't want to leave Palmer any more time than you have to.
Catching him again with all these late substitutions. See if they take advantage one more time.
3rd and 3, and that's caught and taken down. Now, where are they going to spot it? As Ertz gets tackled about a half-yard shy of the first down. Kevin Minter. So now you have 4th down and inches. Kelly calling in the play. And all of their timeouts, and you would think.
And that's an interesting play out because the tackle, he landed on the tackler here and then got a chance to reach out with the ball. Kevin Minter was the guy that made the tackle, and as he rolled over, Ertz, I think, may get the benefit of that full stretch it out. Let's see if anything actually went down. Sort of lands on the hips down right there.
He's down before, and there are no challenges inside 2 minutes. So it gets reviewed, as it always does in Gotham, about 90 miles to the north.
He was pretty close to having that ball fully stretched out.
Spot is short of a 1st down. Therefore, it'll be 4th down. Timeout, Philadelphia.
All right, so Philly takes the timeout, 4th and inches.
Take a look. He's going to stretch it out. The hips down there. We already saw that, and I think just short of the line to gain, as they call it.
Right.
There.
His hip down. Those are the official markers on the far side here. So it's 4th down, inches, and the offense will stay out on the field, and we'll see what Mr. Kelly dials up here.
This is really interesting for me because I believe DeMarco Murray is 100%
correct
on 4th or 3rd down and 1, and he's not in the game. We get Ryan Matthews, so this is a little bolder statement of what they're doing with the running back position, that Murray doesn't even get to play in this situation.
Right, he broke the bank. He's 12 for 12 in situations like this, and now you've got a
30-second timeout.
Timeout taken by the Cardinals. They wanted to see how they were going to line up. They were lining up with Matthews in the backfield. And Arizona can talk it over, and we will go to Michelle.
Well, meanwhile, Al, the Philly secondary is hurting right now. Cornerback Eric Rowe is out with a concussion, and Byron Maxwell went back into the x-ray room to have that left shoulder looked at. Twice they looked at it on the sideline. Right now he's back there, and that leaves 2 available corners for the moment, Al.
Not good news against an offense as potent as the Cardinals, but first things first here on 4th down, inches, 50 seconds to halftime. Matthews in the backfield. Cooper in motion. And Matthews is going to be stopped short of the 1st down. So the Arizona Cardinals, with Gerard Powers forcing his way in right there at the end of the play. And then you wonder what DeMarco Murray is thinking right now.
Basically, Riley Cooper is going to come across and end up being a lead blocker. But then the cornerback, what a heck of a play by Gerard Powers, getting up there and making that kind of a hit. I don't get it. I mean, you know, if DeMarco Murray, the very one thing that he does is convert those situations, I don't know if he's hurt, or I don't have an answer for that one.
I don't either. Matthews is now 2 for 5 in 3rd or 4th and 1. And the other guy, as we said, Murray is 12 for 12. So go figure. From the 8-yard line. Give it to that man Johnson, having a tremendous night, and he picks up a 1st down, gets it out to the 20-yard line. He's already picked up 98 tonight. Timeout. Well, it's been a story of late. It's been a story since Murray got here. The fact that he hasn't been used nearly as much, hasn't been as effective, but certainly in this situation, There's a lot to mull over here as Arizona took the timeout, giving Palmer a chance to go deep downfield, and that is incomplete. That's Jalen Watkins forced into action now in the secondary, covering John Brown, 2nd and 10.
Yeah, and you say, if not, then when, right? I mean, that is the one time that Murray has 100% success. You can make all the arguments you want about what, Darren Sproles has done, what Ryan Matthews has done, and the whole thing. But it was surprising.
It's talked about a lot here. Murray was seated next to Jeff Lurie coming back from Foxborough after they won the game, and had a little discussion about how much or how little Murray has been used this season. As David Johnson is now into triple figures in the first half, and he picks up a first down out to the 33-yard line. And the Arizona Cardinals will take their final timeout, but now you got Johnson, who will need some attention. And behind him, as we mentioned, with Chris Johnson obviously out, injured reserve designated to return, also Ellington out, you're down to Stephon Taylor and Kerwin Williams.
Here comes Yapati around the bend here and going to seal that. Of course, the Eagles a little bit in prevent mode here. Let's take a look if we can see what happened here at the end. Oh, right there, a little shot on the shin. Oh, yeah, and the knee bent back.
Thurman. Chris, you look at this team last year, and I said at the beginning tonight they stay healthy. I mean, that was the whole thing last year. They were 9-1. Carson Palmer went out. Ellington went out. They were decimated by the time they limped to the finish line. Went to the playoffs, lost in Carolina. I mean, they had nobody left. This year, relatively healthy. And on first down, Palmer throwing deep downfield into triple coverage. And that's Jalen Watkins back there, 37, covering on the play. Second year back out of
It's like watching a punt, pass, and kick competition. It seems like Carson Palmer just wants to see how far he can throw it in this game.
Concerned now about David Johnson, the rush attempt leaders. Well, Chris Johnson hurt right now. David Johnson, we see him on the bench. Ellington not playing tonight. Then you go down to Palmer, and then Taylor and Williams.
Well, no shortage of weapons on this team. They have a lot of ways to beat you, even with backup running backs in the game. But the way David Johnson was playing, you certainly don't want to see him out.
And now you got Kerwin Williams. And Williams will go out of bounds. So with 10 seconds, they don't have a timeout. But if they can pick up 10 or 15 more yards, at least they'll give Catanzaro an opportunity to kick a half-ending field goal.
You can see how deep everybody is back here, and so the opportunity to run the football is going to be there. And so they're taking advantage of it, and just slowly and methodically. I thought that time if Kerwin Williams had cut that thing back, now I know get out of bounds, that play may have been extended even further.
And there's Johnson getting an early start back to the locker room. The ball at the 49. Palmer looking to pick up about 15 and get out of bounds, and Fitzgerald is there. That's incomplete. Now you got 6 seconds, and the Cardinals in this half have already amassed 298 yards. They're one of 3 teams in the league that has over 300 yards of offense in every game this season.
Nice job there by Billy Davis defending the boundary. No timeouts remaining, so the middle of the field absolutely wide open, but you can't throw it there because you can't get up and.
Second.
Eagles just took a timeout, setting up their umbrella here. 140 yards on the ground for the Arizona Cardinals tonight. So Philadelphia came into the game allowing 127 yards per game, 28th in a 32-team league, and they've already given up 140 in the half. Down to Michelle.
Well, David Johnson has gone back to the locker room. He is questionable with a right knee injury. Obviously, they took him in early to do some stuff during halftime, and we'll try to find out what that stuff is, Al, and get back to you. We'll see if he comes back for the second half.
All right, Michelle, big for a team that heads down the stretch. They have 2 home games left. Green Bay will be there next Sunday, and then they'll close with Arizona. You got a bunch formation of the top of the screen right there.
Just be careful. Larry Fitzgerald can jump out of the gym. He gets up, not going to get the chance.
And have the opportunity. That's thrown away out of bounds, and that will end the first half with the score Arizona 17, Philadelphia 10. Coming up next, Toyota halftime after these messages from your NBC station. This is Johnson going into the end zone, and how easy did the Cardinals make that look? Finds the open man, Zach Ertz, touchdown. Look at this run. Wow, everybody had a shot to get it.
One of the best runs we have seen all year.
Nationwide is on your side.
Back in Philadelphia on this Sunday night with Arizona leading the Eagles 17-10. So Carson Palmer 11-21. A lot of drops though, 162 yards through the air, but they've killed him on the ground. Sam Bradford 15-20 for $148 and 1 touchdown. And then you had David Johnson. We'll have to check on him and his health. 112. Cardinal offense close to a 600-yard pace. 298 most and a half this season. And the Philadelphia Eagles, who won the toss and deferred, get the ball as we start the third quarter on this 37-degree night at the Link. Panzero will send this one into the end zone, and Philadelphia will begin its drive at the 20, and we go to Michelle.
Well, Cardinals running back David Johnson is coming back into play, so that's good news for Arizona. Right now, we don't have an update on Byron Maxwell, the corner for Philadelphia. What Chip Kelly told me at halftime is, look, we'll play with what we have, but he also pointed out that Walter Thurman can play corner if they have to go that way, Al.
All right, thank you, Michelle. Indeed, he can. He's got a lot of experience at that spot. There is Johnson, at least on the bench for the moment. We'll see if he comes into the action when they get the ball. Chip Kelly sending in the plays per usual. Ryan Matthews begins as the running back here. And Bradford fires, and that is caught by Riley Cooper. To the strains of Coop, he gets thrust into the Philadelphia bench after a gain of 15. With the Eagles in the first half, so Murray was in for 2 plays, didn't see the ball. Matthews, 6 carries, 12 plays, and Sproles was in for 17. And of course, everybody talking about at halftime, checking with a lot of the people outside the press box. Nobody can figure out why Murray wasn't in the game on 4th and short as Matthews takes the ball up to the 40-yard line.
Yeah, and basically what this offense has are 2 big guys, DeMarco Murray and Ryan Matthews. And I asked Chip Kelly, what's the difference in your mind? He said, not a whole lot. Matthews a little faster, so some of those outside plays like you just saw. And then Sproles and Kenyon Barner, 2 of more of the scat back types.
Haven't seen Barner yet tonight. And that pass is through the hands of Zach Ertz, making it 3rd down and 5 for the Eagles.
Boy, Sam Bradford's sharp, though, tonight, don't you think? I mean, he's had a few drops, but here's a guy that you can really tell now is starting to get this offense. And, of course, he has a contract coming up, and are they going to put the franchise tag on him? Are they going to sign him to a long-term deal? All those things before us, but a guy that's won 5 out of 6 and 6 out of 8 when he's finished the game.
Came over in the offseason trade blockbuster with Nick Foles going to the Rams, and Bradford has that one tipped and incomplete. That's Calais Campbell, the big 6'8" defensive lineman with the tip to make it 4th down.
Well, he doesn't get timeouts, but he can tip passes. He just kind of works his way over here, and then 6'7", 6'8", hands up, 6'11", something like that, and knock that one down.
Jones, his 3rd punt of the night, backing up and making a fair catch at the 12 is Peterson. So a minute into the 3rd quarter, it's Arizona by 7.
Career day for David Johnson, but it wasn't just running the football in the first half. Watch him here picking up the blitz and protecting the backside of Carson Palmer for a big completion. And then he certainly proved he could catch the ball and make people miss coming out of the backfield. But here it is, showtime now. Going to pick up a few yards, 6 yards according to NFL Next Gen stats before contact, and then about 50 afterwards. Physical beast mode run. That was fun.
And there he is after he was shaken up at the end of the half. He starts with a run out to the 19-yard line. That's a gain of 6. It'll be second down and 4.
Yeah, really quite a story. You tapped into it a little bit. His mom had a few issues and decided that she was going to move her family, just get them out. I think it was the Memphis area where they were, and just get them to somewhere sort of normal and peaceful. And that young man has seen a lot in his lifetime and a lot with his own family members, but he has come through the crowd, and we really enjoyed visiting with him earlier this year. Sharp hit.
Yep. 3 triplets, 2 sisters. That's John Brown making the catch. Mom moved the group to Clinton, Iowa, wound up going to Northern Iowa, and drafted in the 3rd round by the Cardinals.
Very impressive, though. He's a guy that you really find yourself cheering for. He said, everything I went through growing up just made me stronger, made me a better person, and what we saw, we couldn't agree more.
From the 38-yard line. Palmer, quick toss. Floyd has to reach down to pluck it, and picks up about 4 yards on the play. E.J. Biggers covering, second down.
These guys make catches that I've never seen anybody make. Watch this catch. He's going to reach down and basically one hand sort of under and then just pancake it with the hand on top. You know, it's a different game of football these days with the way they can catch the ball.
No question. Second and 5. I mean, the circus catch has become very routine. Johnson cuts it back, and Johnson, being very patient, takes it all the way to the 38-yard line. Looks like a guy who is at 4th year in the league. Waited for the blocking, saw the opening, and then skirts downfield and winds up picking up 19 yards.
Here we come with your body's going to come around here and take on Malcolm Jenkins, and that's going to be a mismatch. Just put him right on his backside there. Mike Iupati, he's not always a perfect pass blocker, but you get Mike Iupati run blocking, formerly the 49ers, he is a monster.
He's even caught a pass this season for 10 yards.
Who hasn't?
Eligible. Here's Johnson. He's going to cut it back again. Takes it to the 32-yard line. Well, they wanted him, as they say, to run north-south, meaning straight ahead. And he likes to run east-west, side to side a lot. But that's an example of both. Starts out east-west, winds up going north-south. Gain of 6. And looks like he's coming out a little gingerly.
They definitely felt like that. They ran him a little bit much last week. They want to get Kerwin Williams in the game a little bit, take some of the snaps off of him, because they have much bigger things ahead of them due to the Arizona Cardinals.
Second down and 4. And Williams takes the ball to the 30-yard line. Fletcher Cox makes the tackle, 3rd and a deuce.
Here's 2 great players going at it right here. Mike Iupati and Fletcher Cox. And Cox just going to extend those arms and come off and make that tackle. I could watch tape on Fletcher Cox or Mike Iupati all day long. He plays so much, though. Sometimes he gets exhausted. He said sometimes in the 3rd quarter, he just has to take some time off and get out of the game. But believe me, the Eagles never want to take him out.
3rd and 2. Palmer stepping up. He's going to go deep on 3rd and 2. And Floyd is there to make the catch. And he's out of bounds at the 1-yard line.
What a catch.
Michael Floyd on a 3rd and 2. Good coverage. Watkins is there with him, looking back. Somehow a little pushing and shoving going on, all incidental.
Unbelievable.
And now is Kelly going to
I think his shoulder landed out of bounds.
Yeah.
If that's what hit first.
Kelly's going to challenge it. with a smile with Corrente looking like
Philadelphia is challenging the ruling on the field of a completed pass.
looking like a guy who thinks he's going to win it. Well,
House money.
upon first glance, he just might.
Did the knee get down first?
That's the question. Call coming up from Tony Corrente. I think this is going to stand.
During the play, the receiver is able to possess the ball and his right knee hit inbounds prior to him going out of bounds. Therefore, it's a completed pass at the 2-yard line. Philadelphia will be charged with their first timeout.
That was a 3rd and 2. Looking at the replays during the commercial, it was pretty clear that he got the knee down, so Philadelphia challenging, loses it. Fabulous catch.
Interesting. Why at the 2-yard line, though?
Yeah, it should be at the half-yard line.
Yeah, that's not the 2-yard.
Well, he said the 2, but they've already spotted the ball inside the 1, so.
Okay. You know, that's a remarkable catch, Al. You're talking about catches you never used to see. These guys now just hold off the defender with one arm and catch it with the other arm. They just don't miss anymore.
No, you see it in every game. I mean, the highlight reels are unbelievable every week. David Johnson is the back from inside the 1, and Johnson trying to get into the end zone for a 3rd time, and he does. So the rookie from Northern Iowa with the hat trick tonight. 3 rushing touchdowns, 144 yards, and a 2-possession lead for the Arizona Cardinals.
You know, we talk about Larry Fitzgerald and what a great job that he does receiving, but watch him block as well. He has now become the Hines Ward of this team. Remember, Bruce Arians was at Pittsburgh for a long time, and he had Hines Ward as his lead blocker. Well, now he has Larry Fitzgerald, and Larry Fitzgerald really never was even a slot player. He has basically just at an older age picked up new tricks and has made himself invaluable.
Canzero's extra point is no good. It's the 4th time he has missed an extra point this season. But the lead is 13 with 9:48 to go in the 3rd in Philadelphia. Well, there they are. The 3 big guys. Well, they got so many big guys, but 3 of the big guys with Fitzgerald and Palmer and David Johnson just having another spectacular night, taking over as the lead horse out of the backfield. 144 yards, 3 touchdowns. Cardinals already clinched the playoff spot, trying to clinch the division tonight, and this is tough. To the 26-yard line. Well, last year DeMarco Murray is in Dallas, different offense. Tony Romo under center a lot, and through 13 games, as you can see what he did last year. 1,606 yards this year, 603 yards per carry, of course, way down. Everything is down, and you begin to wonder, you know, what in the world. Spending a gazillion dollars to get him, then bringing in Ryan Matthews, keeping Darren Sproles. A lot of changes, obviously, with Chip Kelly running the personnel as well, but you have to wonder about a lot of things after tonight.
Yeah, and one of the reasons they made the trade for Kiko Alonso with Shady McCoy was money. You know, they saved $10 million. And I said, okay, you can always buy into that. I understand that part of it. But then they turned around and gave it to DeMarco Murray.
10-yard penalty for a block in the back on that run back, which is why Philadelphia starts backed up here. Pass intended for Cooper is incomplete. 2nd down and 10.
Well, and the one other factor that you do have to talk about, and I think it was $6 million to $10 million, so they still made money on the deal. But the other thing they wanted to do was to hurt the Cowboys. I mean, remember coming into this season, the Dallas Cowboys were thought of along with the Eagles as the team to beat in this division. So they thought, well, we can hurt the Cowboys and help us at the same time.
2nd down and 10. Bradford, oh boy, just barely avoids a safety. Ed Stinson, one of the backup linemen, rolls in and out. Stinson with the sack, and that'll make it 3rd and 15 from the 1.5.
And get this kind of stunt working here inside with Ed Stinson and Calais Campbell, and they just sort of push the whole pile straight back into Sam Bradford, who still nursing that bad shoulder.
Sam Bradford, and that's exactly what they needed. Otherwise, they would have punted from the back of the end zone as Huff makes the catch to give them a lot of breathing space and a first down. Marcus Golden put the pressure on that time, but couldn't get there in time.
What a throw by Sam Bradford. Under pressure, threw that ball well before the break. Just time that out. I don't think they complete that pass early in the year. They did not have that kind of timing, and Sam Bradford's just taking a beating in there. Marcus Golden with the shot that time.
All night long he has. Now Sproles taking up about 2 yards before he spins out of bounds.
We haven't seen Darren Sproles have much of an impact on this game tonight, and maybe in part it's because you think, all right, Sproles just abuses linebackers that try to cover him. Well, against this team, they've had linebackers that can cover him, and Neion Buchanan. So that and Patrick Peterson on the other side. I haven't even said Nelson Aguilar's name yet, and he had a big long touchdown last week. So some takeaway guys on Arizona's defense.
From the 26, inside handoff this time, and they still can't get Sproles untracked. He has carried the ball now 6 times for 9 yards. And Murray starts in. Now Chip says, well, in, out, in, out. Now he's going in.
Well, and typically you want Sproles in there on 3rd down, so some different personnel formations tonight by the Eagles.
Some odd sports science.
Yeah.
Bradford throws over the middle. Cooper, and he's able to get the first down. And the ball comes out at the end at the 36. And the official says, no, he was down, first down.
Nice job by Riley Cooper getting that ball, making the catch short of that first down line, and just turning straight up the field. So few receivers do that. They want to dance around. Let's check the ball. Ooh, it's pretty close. Snap it.
Yeah, they did before they can challenge. And finally, DeMarco Murray handles the ball halfway through the 3rd quarter.
Little Bronx cheer there.
Yeah, you hear the crowd going, oh,
who's that? Who's that rookie?
Yeah, who's 29? His first carry of the night. Flick it to him here. And caught by Zach Ertz for a first down.
Well, and that's the other version. That is the Sam Bradford version of Chip Kelly's read option. They're going to fake it here, and most quarterbacks in his offense would run it. Bradford's not going to do it, so he's going to throw it down here. And that's the adjustment they've had to make with Sam Bradford playing the quarterback position in this style of offense.
To the 49-yard line. Murray crosses the 50 and not much farther. Golden is there to stop him. And it's 2nd down and 8. But Calais Campbell there, Patrick Peterson, a couple of guys who will probably both wind up on the Pro Bowl roster. Bradford fires over the middle, and that is caught and trying to get the first down, and he does, is Jordan Matthews. So Matthews had a big first quarter, hasn't done much since. Remember, they got rid of Sean Jackson a couple of years ago, let Jeremy Macklin go, and figured he'd be their guy who'd be number 1. Drafted Aguilar in the 1st round, and Matthews tonight has caught 7 passes for 81 yards.
Jordan Matthews with bloodlines back to Jerry Rice, his mom, Jerry Rice's cousin. Whoops.
Oh, and Bradford gets sacked, fumble, ball is loose. Yet Marcus Golden, he's been all over the place. And it's recovered by Arizona. So he blindsided him. Frosty Rucker comes up with the ball. So Golden, who almost sacked him in the end zone, sacks him near midfield. Philly turns the ball over. Eagles had the ball at their own 1-yard line, got it across midfield, and Golden played extremely well in that series. Kept almost getting to Bradford, finally does, and forces the turnover. So now the Cards have it at their own 44-yard line. David Johnson And a few times they've been able to corral him. That's a gain of 1 at the 45.
Let's go back to that sack by Marcus Golden, 3.5 on the year now. Going to flinch a little. Jason Peters, their best out here on the edge, just couldn't handle him. And reminds me a little of James Harrison, doesn't he? The Pittsburgh Steelers. I asked Bruce Arians about him. Of course, he said, you know, yeah, I do. I can see that. Definitely Golden a little bit taller, a little bit more range. Not an edge rusher, not an explosive spin move Dwight Freeney kind of guy, a more powerful kind of guy, and showed it there.
Play action. Palmer throwing. Caught. First down. And dropped in. Nope. Third down. Marcus Golden did such yeoman work. Watkins takes care of Floyd this time. Here it's 3rd down and 9.
Jalen Watkins in the game. He's the half-brother of Sammy Watkins, the great receiver in Buffalo. So there are going to be some guys you don't know much about in his secondary playing, but really they're doing okay.
Oh, baby. Palmer now has to go over to...
Look at that finger.
Yep. So he gets hit as he releases it, and they'll have to work on that.
This is when you don't want to look.
No, you get Drew Stanton is the backup quarterback.
Looks like Connor Barwin probably hit it on his face mask or something all the time. Now you just wonder, though, is it anything more than something you can pop back in?
Well, Drew Stanton, who was very good last year in place of Palmer, but that didn't last long because he got hurt. And that really killed him at the end. But Stanton has a lot of experience on 3rd and 9. Comes into the game, goes deep downfield, and the pass is tipped away. He had Floyd in his sights, but that's Watkins making the play. And it's 4th down with 9 minutes to go now in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, I think that was a better read by Floyd than it was, or by Stan than it was Floyd. He comes out and he goes, he thinks he's going to go inside of him like that. And when he's that far outside, I probably would have thought that too, but you see how much range there was to the outside. Just one of those communication things when guys don't work together much.
Drew Butler sailing into the night sky. Sproles at the 10-yard line. And a run back of 7 out to the 17-yard line. 4:50 to go in the 3rd. Cards by 13 in Philly. Sunday Night Football brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By the Ford F-150, every other truck is history. By Walmart, share wonder every day. And by PlayStation 4, the best place to play. Congratulations to Imatep Charter High School. They won the Class 3A state championship on Friday night. Congrats to the guys. Boy, playoff high school football in late December. Pretty soon we're going year-round, partner.
Possibly with us, too.
At the 16-yard line, Ryan Matthews for a gain of 3 to the 19.
Well, you're going to see Carson Palmer throw this ball, and it really didn't hit the helmet. It just went right into the hand of Connor Barwin and just sort of bent backwards. And you can see Carson Palmer flinching on that one, and everybody who is a fan of the Cardinals flinched as well. They remembered how good this team was last year before Carson got hurt.
Swinging to the outside. Stiff arm there. 1st down. Matthews run out by Swearinger. And with 4:18 to go in the 3rd. Palmer on the sideline. He's been loosening up, and he's got that right index finger taped.
Yeah, people forget. What did they win? 9 out of 10 before he got hurt last year, was having just as good a year. And then he got hurt, and backup got hurt, and their season fell apart.
Yeah, Stanton was doing okay, and he got hurt. That was the end of that. And meanwhile, fired over the middle and caught for another 1st down. That's Zach Ertz, the tight end, moving it out to the 45-yard line.
Yep, and they're working against Tony Jefferson, who took over for Rashad Johnson. I'm just telling you, the more this Zach Ertz plays, the more impressed I am. If you want to be even more impressed, we see what he can do as a receiver, but blocking, just as good.
Third-year tight end out of Stanford. And the ball is on the ground again, and the Cardinals recover, so the Eagles turn it over back-to-back. Ryan Matthews with the fumble. And Swearinger comes up with it. So he recovers the fumble. Back-to-back turnovers. And Josh Morrow, we believe, is the man who forced the fumble.
Absolutely was. As soon as I bragged on Zach Ertz, he missed the block, and I think it just surprised Matthews coming around the edge that way, and there you go. Zach Ertz tried to take a hard inside release and get in front, and Morrow just went right around him. Completely missed the block. Blindsided Ryan Matthews.
And the happiest sight that any Cardinal fan could see right now is Carson Palmer in the game. Rolling, throwing, and it's caught. Johnson makes the catch. And Johnson, a gigantic night, takes a big pop, but not until he picks up a first down. Let's go to Michelle.
That's the second tape job you see on Carson Palmer's right index finger, the index finger on his throwing hand. They taped it once. He took some practice snaps. Didn't feel right. They re-taped it, a little extra tape, which gives that knuckle more support, but also means that finger's a little less flexible. He also threw some deep balls on the sideline, which is something he wanted to do before he went back out, Al.
All right, thank you, Michelle. Paste and glue. Look at the index finger that took the hit. First down now from the 38-yard line. Hand the ball off. 3-yard gain for Johnson here. Logan makes the tackle. Since 2013, when he joined the team after leaving Oakland, 27-8 the team record with him. With the other guys 5-5. 27 points a game with him and 15.5 without.
Yeah, and he came into this game tonight. He was second in passer rating, only to Russell Wilson, and second in passing yards and touchdown passes, only to Tom Brady.
Second down and 7. A little over 2 minutes to go in the quarter. Deep drop, good protection. Fires it to the outside. Dave Fells makes the catch. And is out of bounds just at about the first down marker, very close, maybe a little short.
Still sort of hard to believe, isn't it, that you can have, there's Patrick Peterson, the dancing elf. We'll tell you that story in a minute. But Darren Fells, oh, it's Christmas. The elves are happy. Darren, I forget it. Okay, I'll just let the elf entertain you.
3rd and 1 at the 28-yard line. And does he get the first with forward progress or not? Very close. Johnson. See Jerron Brown saying we've got it. But the Zebras will determine that. And where they spot it here, Tony Correnti takes a peek. First down.
Almost.
The line of game was the 28-yard line. It falls beyond the 28.
I think this was that Kendricks that came around there. I think it was, and sort of met David Johnson in the backfield. Just could not get him stopped. A heavy runner, David Johnson, as well.
Play action. And Fitzgerald gets held, and that creates a flag, and that's Jalen Watkins who held him up. Pretty evident.
Yeah, it's not like the Eagles were a juggernaut covering people anyway, and then you come in and you take away their first, second, and third string cornerbacks.
The ball will be placed in the spot of the foul and an automatic first down.
You know, Larry Fitzgerald will lay some moves on you now. Sometimes he'll sit up there. He's patient doing this stuff. And really, Watkins was beaten pretty badly on the play and had no choice, at least a little contact there to hold him up.
Again, they revamped that whole secondary in the offseason. You got Watkins in there. You got Biggers in there. Maxwell is out of the game. Rowe, who started the game, is out. Meanwhile, you got Palmer buying time, and he throws, and that's caught, and then spinning around and staying in bounds is John Brown for the touchdown. Biggers could not stop him, and Brown gets into the end zone.
Well, John Brown just completely turns Biggers around here. Going to come back and there's nothing to cover in the back of the end zone. I mean, you're down there, and this is when typically it's one of the reasons it's so hard to play red zone football, because the defensive backs don't have to worry about you running past them. And Biggers sort of acted like he had 40 or 50 yards to cover and was no match for John Brown after the catch. How about Carson Palmer with a bad finger? He's doing all right.
2 pump fakes and rolls against the grain. Throws his first touchdown pass of the night, 32 on the season. Last week eclipsed Kurt Warner's team record of 30. Catanzaro for the point after, and for a silent throwing right now at the link, it's 30-10. All right, Shades of Blue coming up. Jennifer Lopez, Ray Liotta starring in Shades of Blue, premiering Thursday, the 7th of January, right here on NBC. I'll tell you what, there's one of the great human interest stories. If you go back to the Super Bowl I, which was played, 49 years ago in January of '67 at the LA Coliseum. It was Kansas City against Green Bay. They're the '66 Kansas City Chiefs. Hank Stram's the head coach. They had an assistant coach. There were only like 4 assistant coaches in those years. His name was Tom Pratt. So there was Tom Pratt, who was 30 years old at the time. So where is Tom Pratt now? There he is. He's 80 years old. He's with a team that has a real good shot to wind up in the Super Bowl. So he coached in Super Bowl I. He was on a team. He was the defensive line coach, and he had the linebackers as well. He had Bobby Bell. He had Buck Buchanan. You had Emmett Thomas in the secondary. And Tom Pratt could wind up coaching in Super Bowl I and in Super Bowl 50. I mean, of all the stories, that's about as good as it can get in terms of the golden anniversary Super Bowl.
It's borderline outrageous when you stop and think about it, but good for him. And of course, he's coaching the pass rushers, I think, now, and they're getting a little better. Golden with a big sack out there. But you think about it, Bruce Arians, a lot of people thought that he didn't become a head coach because he was too old. And you get the feeling that Bruce Arians, and he's a little bit of a huckster anyway, you know, he said, oh, you think I'm old? Wait till you see the assistants I'm about to bring in here.
So Bruce is 63, Pratt's 80, Tom Moore is 77. That pass is caught. And close to a first down there goes Ertz. And the youngest coach on the staff is 28. I mean, the great thing about Arians, old, young, the whole thing, brought a woman in to be a coach in preseason. Jen Welter, who was on the staff during preseason. Up to the 39-yard line. In the waning seconds goes Ryan Matthews.
Yeah, and he said earlier about Tom Moore, when he was talking about him, he said, you know, I can go back at the end of a day and have a drink with Tom Moore, and I don't have to worry about whatever I tell him going back to his wife. You can just talk to a guy like that.
They got a good thing going to the Cardinals. End of the third. Look up Broad Street, City Hall. Aerial coverage being brought to you by Geico. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya. Start the fourth quarter with an interception by Buchanan. And Buchanan will roll all the way to the end zone. And the Arizona Cardinals, a team that used to never be able to win in the Eastern time zone. And here's James Betcher, the defensive coordinator, in a rout now.
Just a mistake here. Sam Bradford thinks that Matthews is going to break in. Instead, he breaks out, and complete confusion. Thought he was going to break right across the face of Neion Buchanan. There is his first career interception, and if you're going to make one as a linebacker, why not go ahead and score a touchdown with it too? It is that I really have a lot of respect for that young man right there, Neion Buchanan. He didn't really want to do that. Sam Bradford knew that that was ill-advised, but Neion Buchanan from military parents and a guy that just said yes sir whenever his head coach asked him to do something a little out of the ordinary, and paying dividends.
Catanzaro for the point after, and the Arizona Cardinals on their way to an 8th straight win, are up 37-10 on the road. Now that the Patriots have finished their home schedule, they can begin to build a hockey rink at Gillette Stadium, and that's where the New Year's Day hockey game will be, the Bridgestone NHL Winter Classic on NBC. The Montreal Canadiens against the Boston Bruins from Foxborough. It was great to see that game outdoors on New Year's Day. Josh Huff running back the kick and gets tackled up at the 29-yard line. A few seconds into the fourth quarter on a big night for the Cards. Tonight Football brought to you by Verizon. Better matters by BMW. We only make one thing, the ultimate driving machine. By the new action thriller Point Break in theaters everywhere on Christmas Day, and by Amazon Prime, millions of ways to save the day. Well, the Cardinals last won a championship in 1947. They were the Chicago Cardinals. Eagles last won the championship pre-Super Bowl era in 1960 at Franklin Field when they beat the Packers. It's been that long for these two franchises. Full start here.
Offense number 71. 5-yard penalty and will remain first down.
Chris, you know, it's amazing when you think about it. Well, the Cardinals started in Chicago. They were there for 40 years. Then you remember them in St. Louis. They were there for 28 years. And now they have been in Arizona as long as they were in St. Louis, 28 seasons.
And old Michael Bidwell's getting it done out there. You know, since they got that new stadium and all those sellouts and all that additional money, they have a little play money now.
First and 15, going and getting free, wide open is Jordan Matthews on a coverage breakdown. So for the moment, a little bit of oxygen left for Philadelphia on a 77-yard catch and run.
You never know for sure, but it sure looked like Tony Jefferson jumps this thing. He's going to see an underneath coverage and does not see this deep over. Looks like they're supposed to be in too deep. Tony Jefferson jumped the underneath receiver, never saw Matthews come across. So once again, Rashad Johnson not being there is big. Great play by Sam Bradford to hang in there and make that throw.
That's Okafor who put him on the ground.
Well, Jordan Matthews had a night tonight.
Yeah.
He has played well.
8 catches for 158 yards and the touchdown. And so there's a little bit of life left here as Caleb Sturgis gets the extra point. 37-17 on that unexpected breakdown as Sam pays the price again. Tonight, Sunday Night Football, Minneapolis is the site. The Vikings winning today over Chicago. Giants losing a heartbreaker after overcoming a 28-point deficit. Giants and the Vikings football night at 7 o'clock from Michelle Tafoya's hometown.
Happy birthday to Michelle.
Yeah. Happy birthday to Michelle. Merry Christmas. Home of the Kitties. Taking to the 3-yard line here, Kerwin Williams. To the 23-yard line. Cardinals will have it at that spot early in the fourth quarter, up by 20. Oh, your MVP candidates, you got a bunch of them. Tom Brady, I mean, doing it, doesn't matter who's playing with him. Carson Palmer, of course, having his best year in his mid-30s. And then there's Cam, whose team is undefeated, rushing and throwing, and another tremendous day for him in the Meadowlands, and there are others as well as we start this drive from the 22-yard line. And we begin here with Johnson through the middle. All right, whose hat are you throwing into the ringer? I know who it is, but and you're right. Go ahead.
Yeah, Russell Wilson. I mean, their team was 4-5 when they got beat at home by the Arizona Cardinals here. And since then, he's thrown either 19 or 20 touchdown passes, no interceptions. The very definition of a quarterback throwing a team on his back and carrying them. But after watching Cam Newton today, and they're undefeated, Tom Brady, we've seen him no matter what they put out there on the field win, and Carson's been brilliant. So it'll be tough. I think it's all quarterbacks this year, though.
I agree with you, because I can't think of somebody, a non-quarterback, who would have a legitimate chance to win it. 2nd down and 5. Taking some time off the clock now. Johnson cut to the outside, looking to pick up the first down. Comes up a little bit short. So Palmer will turn 36 next week. There are the guys who won the award in an elder state. Charlie Connolly for the Giants in '59. Then 4 years later, Y.A. Tittle came along. Rich Gannon won it in 02 at age 37, led that team to the Super Bowl. Peyton did it with the Broncos at the age of 37. And Carson Palmer is in the mix.
Fountain of youth lives.
Yeah. Ponce de Leon has gone to Phoenix. Johnson backing his way for a first down. So he got stopped, turned his back to the pile, and just backpedaled forward. And right now that's 160 ground yards for him tonight. And he's also caught 3 passes for 32.
Well, I just don't know what else he can do tonight to make an impression. We've seen power running. We have seen him run through tackles. We've seen him pass blocking great. We've seen him catching the football. And he's relatively fresh because of the fact that really Chris Johnson carried this team for first 10 games or so of the season.
From the 33. Goes again. And he'll get a little fresher too when Ellington is able to come back. Andre Ellington, good back, but for the last 3 games with a toe injury.
You know, the last 2 years, and there's Marco Murray over there, he's probably having to think, okay, what did I do? And it's really not like Ryan Matthews had a great night tonight. You know, he didn't convert on the 4th and 1. He had the fumble, or miscommunication. Not saying whose fault that was on the last one, but it has not worked out perfectly tonight, certainly.
2nd down and 6. Most of the clock, and then is caught and taken to the 40-yard line by John Brown. Well, there is good news for Philadelphia, as every Eagles fan knows right now, and that is they can still get into the playoffs. And for Bruce Arians, the Cardinals, of course, can clinch the division tonight, trying to hold on to that number 2 seed. But all Chip Kelly and the Eagles have to do is win their next 2 games, and they are in the way it works out, because they've got Washington here next Saturday, and then they go to play the Giants in the closer. They win those 2, Philly is in the playoffs and would host a wild card game, because they would be the division champion. Right now, Washington holds that top spot.
And they would play here. With all the really great teams and tremendous records, they would host a playoff game.
Think about that. And Palmer's going to get sacked. And that's Connor Barwin who's able to come in and plant them. 4th down.
You're going to get it from both ends here. Connor Barwin's going to come back underneath here and get there, but so does on the other side. That's Marcus Smith, who does not have a sack, so I'm sure he's hoping he was the one that got a little credit for that. He was a first-round draft pick, too.
Butler, short kick. Sproles at the 30, but right along the sideline. And works his way out to the 35 with 10:16 to go. Eagles with the ball, down by 20. Standings in the NFC West at the moment. Now, if Arizona wins tonight, they go to 12-2. They clinch. They clinch the division. They play Green Bay next week. They're close to clinching the number 2 seed, but it'll be pretty interesting, because the Packers go to Arizona next week. They could pull them within a game, and it would come down to the final game of the year. As the catch is made, and across the 50-yard line goes Josh Huff for a first down. Swearinger making the stop.
Yeah, the other thing that was surprising to me is that the Arizona Cardinals are the only team in all of football that doesn't have a 12-win season.
In the long and somewhat less than storied history. And this is Zach Ertz. Gets taken down there for a gain of a couple by Ty Matthew, and he's hurt.
Tyrann Mathieu chopped his legs out.
So they're very valuable number 1 tight end still down.
That is one weapon they can't lose.
So Ertz has had a good night. 7 catches for 70 yards and a touchdown. Comes out for at least 1 play, and Selleck comes in to take his spot on the right side of the line. 2nd down and 7 now. Bradford fires, finds the open man, and he goes right back to a tight end. It is Selleck who makes the catch for a 1st down.
Well, I was watching a game earlier today that I thought was over, and it wasn't, so who knows?
Correct.
Especially the pace these Eagles can play. That Giants game was just unbelievable.
What a football game that turned out to be. At the 36, Bradford going deep and incomplete. Good coverage that time. Aguilar hasn't caught a pass tonight. Covered there by Matthew. 2nd down and 10.
Boy, the sort of the ultimate do everything here. Tyrann Mathieu on the back end. He has just had a phenomenal year. When you put the numbers of Tyrann Mathieu up and Patrick Peterson, the quarterback average against those two guys, you might as well take it and throw it in the dirt. Might be safer even.
2nd and 10. Pressure on. Ball tip. Matthew. So Matthew on the prior play goes all the way back to the end zone for the coverage. This time he comes flying in and gets the tip.
Al, that's what he's done all season long. Here's a guy that just flat out understands how to play the game of football. I mean, he is an excellent tackler. He's a guy that can play deep coverage. He can play man-to-man on the slot, and he's a tremendous blitzer. He is a complete player.
Bradford checks it off underneath. Sproles makes the catch, and he gets tripped up after a short gain by Witherspoon. So it'll be 4th down and 4. And obviously the Eagles to go for it with 8:40 to go in regulation.
Somehow you stick a touchdown on the board right here. Get within 2 scores anyway, right?
37-24. And all of a sudden, you got a few people coming back in from the parking lot. And Bradford throws, but that pass is incomplete, and they turn it over on downs to try to hit Matthews, and Matthew covered on the play. Talk about the Cardinals in the Eastern Time Zone. 28 years out in the desert. 27 and 77 until 2012, and then Mr. Arians came in. They're 5-3 with Bruce, and that's going to probably go to 6-3 after this one is over.
It's our response to Star Wars there. We've got our own.
Fly Eagles, what's different? Fly Cardinals fly. Mike Bidwell and Steve Kime behind the pole there. The GM who's done such a tremendous job of restructuring this team, putting the right people in the right place, getting the guys signed that they wanted to get re-signed. For instance, Larry Fitzgerald, who would like to end his career as an Arizona Cardinal, play his whole career with the franchise. And then drafting somebody like this guy, Johnson, having a phenomenal night. 2 quarterbacks, a lot of similarities between these guys. You look at their numbers tonight, but each won the Heisman Trophy. Each was the #1 overall pick in the draft. Each has had a couple of knee surgeries that put them out for extended periods. Each has been traded. But right now it is Mr. Palmer having one heck of a season.
Yeah, and it was interesting, Bruce Arians talking about that they want to try and score a point per minute of possession. Well, they're way ahead of that so far in this game.
Palmer finally finds the open guy. Sooner or later, somebody gets free, and in this case, it's Darren Fells. 1st down. Talking about, well, the time of possession. We told you going into the game, Arizona leading the league time of possession, Philly last. And those numbers tonight would reflect just that.
Yep, 37 points in 30 minutes. Of course, Deon Buchanan and the defense picked up 7 of those points. So maybe the lucky elf. That may mean that Patrick Peterson has to wear the elf outfit again. Good luck.
At the 42. Fitzgerald. Play clock at 1 as they get it off. And Johnson has got a chance for a 200-yard night. David Johnson has now carried the ball 27 times for 178 yards.
And you know, let's give a little tip of the hat to Steve Keim and all the guys that built this thing. In the last 2 free agency periods, they went out and got 2 excellent football players, Jared Valdir and Mike Upati over there on that left side, and they have just been dominant. There's Upati just blowing Bo Allen off the ball, and it's a lot of fun to play running back when you're not getting hit until somebody in the secondary, somebody smaller, is the one that's hitting you.
Johnson adding a few more to that total, getting to the 37-yard line. 28 carries for the rookie, 183 yards.
There's the elf.
Patrick Peterson having a lot of fun on the road.
There he is.
Yep.
He lost a bet. Believe it or not, he got into a quarterback competition with the quarterbacks where they lobbed the ball into a bucket in the back of the end zone. And so it was sudden death. So, you know, Carson made it, and then Drew Stanton made it, and he's in there battling with everybody with the whole thing. And then somebody else made it, and they didn't give him a chance to tie. He said, I didn't know that part of the rule, but, you know, the quarterbacks, they have weird rules in there, so we had to wear the elf outfit.
Yeah, Palmer says you play not to lose. Patrick Peterson, 5th year in the league, going to his 5th Pro Bowl. A little bit of what he's been doing tonight, covering different guys. That time it was Cooper. And it was Aguilar. Doesn't matter who you match him up against. And having fun on the road. And, you know, the other thing, too, he said last night, you know, he had to wear that goofy outfit on the plane. He said, I was more comfortable than the other guys. They're on coats and ties, and I'm sitting back chilling.
Yeah, he said, I won. They're all uncomfortable, and I've got my jammy on back there. But, you know, it's a remarkable story how he's turned around this football season, battling type 2 diabetes, and just amazing the difference in him.
3rd and 1, and here is Johnson making the catch, taking it to the 24-yard line. So he has 187 yards on the ground, and he has now caught 4 for 42 yards. So this guy's accounted for 229 yards of total offense as he comes off a little unsteadily.
Yeah, he's going to be sore, but he has proven that he can be the lead back. And you go back to Arians and you go back to Carson Palmer, and there are questions about this guy in Northern Iowa, and oh my gosh, he's not picking it up quickly enough. Tonight all he's been is perfect.
Kerwin Williams comes in as the running back. He'll total for a gain of a couple.
But really, it has been the inability of this Eagles defense to stop the run and to stop David Johnson that has been the difference. I mean, when you cannot stop the run in the National Football League, then even against average passing teams, it's hard to stop the pass, because then you get to play action, you got to bring safeties down into the mix, you got to do all those things, and so you create all those one-on-one situations on the outside, and you go one-on-one against these receivers. If you add in the balls they dropped tonight, they could have had 50 or 60 on the board.
2nd and 8. And Palmer's going to go Fitzgerald, and incomplete, covered there by Jalen Watkins. You know, the other thing, Chris, is that coaches are always talking about you got to protect the football, you know, can't turn it over. Well, this will be, assuming they don't turn it over here, 4 straight games that the Cardinals have not committed a turnover in.
Yeah, pretty darn impressive when you consider what that is. And during that same period of time, they've got 9 takeaways. So you play plus 9 on the takeaway ratio, you're going to win a lot of games. Got that guy and that guy, you're going to win a lot of games too.
3rd and 8. To the outside goes Williams, and he'll get taken out of bounds with a tick under 3 minutes to play, and it will be 4th down. In comes the field goal group.
Now for Chip Kelly, he knows there's going to have to be another day, and I think the running back decision will be at the forefront again. But I will say this, and I don't want to be unfair about this. Coming into this game, if you had asked me who I would have played Ryan Matthews and Darren Sproles. They've outplayed DeMarco Murray so far, except in those short yardage situations. But you just wonder now that it wasn't a great night for those guys, how that might impact what we see moving forward.
38-yard attempt by Catanzaro. And that makes it 57 points on the board. It was already over before that. And it's 40-17 Arizona. Cardinals first. Well, they're going to win 12 in a season, first time. Remember, 40 years in Chicago, 28 in St. Louis, 28 in Arizona. First NFC West title in 6 years. 7 road wins. They're going to wind up 7-1 away from home. 8-game winning streak. That's the first since 48 back in Chi-Town. 4 games without a turnover. Of course, the Cardinals, you go back to the 12-win seasons. They used to play a fewer number of games, 12 into 14 out of 16, of course. But a spectacular season by this team that's lost only 2 games. One to St. Louis at home by 2 points. The other was to Pittsburgh on the road, in games in which they had real good chances to pull them out at the end, but didn't.
Well, the other thing was what Carson Palmer said about it's one of the best locker rooms he's ever been in. He's, you got guys like Patrick Peterson and Larry Fitzgerald and Tyrann Mathieu as your stars, and Carson Palmer, but he was the one talking. They're all just good guys, so you don't have issues in the locker room that you have to deal with at all. These are all guys that among the best personalities as well in this league. Well, here's Sam Bradford, and he has made some throws tonight into some very tight windows. He wanted to go a little more zone defense, but plenty of zip. First overall pick in the draft. You can see with the way that early in the season, he wasn't quite as willing to torque on that left knee the way you see him tonight. He steps now, and those hips fly around, and he is throwing the ball. If the Eagles, for some reason, decide they don't want him, I think there's going to be a line of people who do.
Here's Ertz making the catch. Larry Fitzgerald tonight, 3 catches for 43 yards. And that's going to get picked off at the 40-yard line by Tyrann Mathieu, and now he's got to flex his right leg, so maybe a little bit of a price that got paid here by the Honey Badger. Still down, has the pick, and Peterson is right over there checking him out along with Buchanan and company.
Boy.
Well, he had an injury a couple of years ago, worked his way back last year. Tore his left ACL back in 2013. The torque there. And of course, we will check this out. So valuable is this guy. And he gets the pick, but you got to figure out what's going to happen. That, of course, is a great sign right there to be able to get him up and walk back to the sideline. It's patted on the helmet by Peterson. So tonight, that's 4 turnovers for the Philadelphia Eagles. 0 for Arizona. And we'll just check him out back on the bench.
Boy, Tyrann Mathieu, he has overcome a lot. Patrick Peterson actually was his host on the recruiting trip to LSU, and he kind of got kicked out of school there, and some questions, do you really want him? And he has really, truthfully, I think, turned his life completely around. And now they talk about what a great leader he is, what a great influence he is on his work ethic, his energy every day in practice, and what he brings out there. Just hope he's okay.
So they have it with 2.5 minutes remaining now in the fourth, and now you got Drew Stanton in the game with Stephon Taylor. So I think Mr. Arians has figured, I've seen enough of the guys I need to have in there, and why take a chance, especially after you saw something like that.
Yep.
That Palmer, of course, came out taping his finger. It looked like he had broken his finger. That was not the case, and of course came in and looked the same. David Johnson had to come out at the end of the first half, so you never know. And they're just going to play it real safe down the stretch. 2-minute warning. In Philadelphia, the Arizona Cardinals on their way to 8 in a row, 40-17. Coming up right after the game, Michelle on the field stars of the game. I think they'll be wearing white and red, just a guess. Bob, Tony, and Mike breaking it all down. Look ahead to next week's game. Will be in Minneapolis. Giants and the Vikings. Well, the Phillies were 63 and 99 this year. The Flyers, well, they have above 500 record, but trying to get into the playoffs. 14, 12, and 7. Still 3 months to go there. 76ers. 1 and 28 with one victory over the Lakers. So they were on their way to a number 1 draft choice in all likelihood.
Did you read the sign? Keep it within 10,
right.
And then it scratched off within 20.
Boy, oh boy. 2nd and 9. Stephon Taylor breaking tackles to the 22. And then there are the Eagles, who will drop to 2 games under 500. This is amazing. I told this to Jeffrey Lurie yesterday, and he was shocked too. The Eagles, since this stadium opened in 03, they're the only team in the league that has won more games on the road than at home. So they have pretty good records. They've done very well. They've gotten to the playoffs a lot, but more road wins than home wins. And it's so bizarre because it's a great crowd. They love the Eagles.
Play the Rocky thing.
Right. So it's a vibrant building, but for whatever reason, more wins away than here.
Well, maybe time for Jeffrey Lurie to give him another speech. He gave him that before the New England game, the play angry speech. Went around to everybody in the locker room and sort of grabbed them and used a little colorful language and got them all fired up and got a standing ovation after the game when he came back in when they beat the Patriots. But I tell you, somebody's going to give old Bruce Arians and Steve Keim and Carson Palmer a standing ovation. 12 wins in this league. Very impressive.
Well, Bruce will be a candidate for Coach of the Year, which he's only won twice in 3 years. But at this point in time, Ron Rivera, you're 14-0 with that team.
Oh, no question.
With the expectations going into the season, you know the story. Kelvin Benjamin got hurt. They may have a perfect year, who knows? But he'd be the choice right now. And for Chip Kelly, well, again, the great thing about the Eagles, if you're an Eagle fan, is you just win the next 2 games. You're in the playoffs, and you're playing a home game the 2nd week of January. There's the final score of 40-17. And coming up next, it'll be the Volkswagen post-game report after these messages from your NBC station.